Welcome back to the Worldwise Wealth podcast. And today's episode is going to be a short wrap up episode to wrap up the year of 2024. And I'm going to be sharing a little bit about the work that we have done this year. We have worked with countless clients for various different and all of them lucrative residency, citizenship, and many company formations for clients to really leave their home countries and to start optimizing their tax and start on their global citizen journey. So, a quick note before I move forward. Now, you may have seen that we did not release an episode in probably about the last week. We are taking a break for the week of Christmas and for New Year's. So, the last episode you may have seen was on the 21st of December. The next episode will be the 4th of January. We will be back at it with guest episodes. And then, of course, with continuing to share valuable information to you regarding how you can start on your own global citizen journey. So, from the 22nd until the 3rd, this will be the only episode during that time period. I know some of that time has already passed, but this will be the only episode during that time period. We are taking a break for Christmas, for New Year's. Our team is taking a break. And then we are going to dive right back into things again with a guest episode on the 4th. So now that that is out of the way, for 2025, for the new year, we are going to be releasing about one episode per week. Now, some weeks there may be two episodes per week, but it's typically going to be one episode per week. This past year, we released multiple episodes per week, 2, 3, sometimes even 4 episodes per week. It is a lot to keep up with. We have a great team in the background who assists with this, but it is not only a lot for them to keep up with, but it's also a lot for listeners to keep up with. I know you are busy working a full-time job, working part-time, traveling around the globe, and you also have other podcasts that you want to listen to as well. I am very aware of that. So we are going to be keeping the episodes to for sure one episode per week. We don't have a scheduled date on when they'll be dropped, but it's usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday that we drop our episodes typically. But there will be 1 to 2 per week. And you can also find some of our shorter podcast episodes on YouTube, which is linked below our YouTube channel, Worldwise Capital. And all of these shorter episodes, we do publish in video format on YouTube as well. And then if you are wanting the full length interview, we do also have all of the podcast episodes going over to our YouTube page. Now, for the longer episodes, the guest episodes, there is no video. It is audio only on YouTube, but you can still listen to all of the entire podcast and our original content, our original videos guiding you in the global citizen and tax optimization process. All of that is on YouTube as well. If you like to just have YouTube playing in the background, or if you like to see a visual on some of those shorter videos with really actionable tips and next steps and how-to processes for certain jurisdictions processes around the globe. So let's wrap up 2024. Now, this was a wild year in business. We were so busy, and it's really interesting to see the politics, especially most of our clients are coming from Western countries. So Canada, yes, the US, we have many American clients, and there are ways we help countless clients this year alone to set up trust foundations and pay 0% on their crypto gains. So it is possible with the proper setup, of course, as an American, but most of our clients are those Canadians, Americans, Australians, New Zealanders, British as well, coming from Western countries and looking to not only optimize their tax, and yes, that is a big component, but looking to create a new lifestyle for themselves, not only a geo arbitrage and potentially more affordable and just as high quality of life, but these clients are really looking for potentially a new home base to travel the world from. And as Western governments and Western countries are becoming, for various reasons that we're not going to dive into today in this podcast episode, but are becoming less and less interesting, less and less enticing. And I can speak to this personally as a Canadian, although I emigrated about a decade ago. So it was a very different political landscape in Canada back then. But nonetheless, if I were in Canada these last few years, I would be looking to get out. So, of course, this lifestyle is not for everybody, but if you do resonate with this and you are listening to this podcast, then that is likely who you are. And so, if you are looking even just for options to know what your options could potentially look like based on your business, based on how you are making income and where that income is coming from, then we can absolutely assist further. It's as easy as booking in a very affordable consult call, a strategy call with us, and we will guide you on the next steps. A lot of our clients, well, we typically have two buckets of clients, and both are very much so in their own right to do whatever they would like with the information. Now, what we typically see if you're thinking, I want to book a strategy call, but I don't really know what we're going to be discussing and what the next action steps are. So I will share with you, there are typically two types of people once we finish a consult call. And again, both I completely understand where both type of client is coming from. So we have the first bucket of client who they get the information. We really analyze where their income is coming from, how we can assist them further on this call and lay out some of the best country options, banking options, potentially crypto options, and company formation options and residency or citizenship options, just depending on the individual client, what they are looking for. And so the first bucket of clients, they are ready to go after the call. They know what they want. We have some clients who already know the exact jurisdiction or are just debating between one or two different jurisdictions. Hop on the call. We talk about documentation needed, get off the call, introduce them to the documentation team, introduce them to the team on the ground, and then they get started. They know that they are ready and they want to hit the ground running. Now, the next bucket of clients is where maybe they are a little bit less sure and they're still very new to this world of global diversification. And so they are looking for options. They want to think about it. And there is a lot of information that we dive into on these strategy consults. And so a lot of these clients will want to think about what their next options are. And if it is a lot of information for clients, what I typically advise, they will get access to the recording of our conversation, listen to it a few times. If they have any other questions, we're always available via email or via WhatsApp for additional questions. We very much so expect that additional questions do happen as you continue to think about this process and what it may look like for you and potentially your family as well. And so we like for them to really think about it because especially if you're not only optimizing your taxes, but you're obtaining an additional residency, you're going to work your way towards citizenship, maybe you're purchasing another citizenship. This is a big decision and one that has the potential to change the trajectory of what your life is going to look like in the future. You may be leaving your home country. You may be moving to a country that you've potentially never been to or only been to once in your life. This is a very serious, big decision, and we completely understand that. So we are there to support you throughout the process in its entirety in every aspect of the process. So we really see these two different buckets of clients. And if you are serious about making the move, 2025 is the year for a lot of clients. They are preparing now. We're getting documentation underway now to start preparing for their move in 2025, especially with, again, these political climates in certain countries around the globe. It's just time to get out. Potentially, you can exit the system entirely, and we work with a network of professionals in countless countries now, and they really help our clients to leave the system properly. Yes, there are ways that you can just up and leave in certain countries, and our clients don't do this. I have heard of this before, where you just leave the system completely, don't tell any government, just essentially phase your way out of the system. That is not something that we recommend for various reasons, but we will help you to leave the system properly and to really not only leave the system in your home country, but to integrate into a new system completely legally. Everything is above board. If there are any procedures where we have had inquiries in the past, clients saying, I'm looking to get this done. Do you know some people? Pay some money. That is not how we work. That is not how we operate. Everything is completely above board. And so if that is what you are looking for in the new year, relocation, even just potentially you're not at the point of relocation, but you think in 6 months, 12 months, that may be feasible for you, but you want to see what some of your options may look like now. And really just looking to get a snapshot of what that could look like for you so that you understand what the process from A to Z will look like. I recommend checking out our YouTube channel first. There is so much valuable information there, along with the podcast. Like I said, all episodes are on both the YouTube channel and the podcast. Or if you are ready to just dive into it, you've watched the videos, you've listened to the podcast episodes, you're ready to get your future underway and hold a future in your hands, and book a strategy consult with us below. Now, one other point that I did quite honestly need to touch on, because we've been having so many conversations about this with clients over the last almost a month, about the last 3 weeks, when Bitcoin was almost at 100K, and then it hit 100K for the first time ever, December 4th or 5th. For me, it was about 11:30 at night. I think it was on the 4th. And that was just a wild journey. You probably know where you were when that happened. I was about to go to sleep. Yes, laying in bed with my phone. I was just watching it at 99.2, 99.4, 99.5. And I was like, it's going to happen. And it happened about 10 minutes later, which was probably less, which was just wild, so exciting. Needless to say, did not get much sleep that night. Was curious what the price would stay at or potentially dip back down to. So that was quite the eventful evening. And on the topic of crypto, we have so many clients who are, especially if you have your crypto in cold storage and it's not on a centralized exchange, you really do have options of potentially, and it depends on your crypto setup. It also depends on where you are currently a resident or a citizen of now, but you do have options to start setting the framework, the groundwork to set up structures so that in 1, 2, 3 months, you can cash out your crypto potentially tax free. So, of course, in this market, this has been something that many clients, most of our clients who are looking to either get an additional residency or set up a company formation, are interested in this option as well, to be completely honest. Now, of course, once we get back into the bear market, which will absolutely happen, there's going to be less interest, but that is really when you want to start accumulating that Bitcoin, that ETH, those altcoins, whatever it is that you like to hold and purchase in the bear market. You really want to be able to store it in a jurisdiction, in a safe wallet, decentralized wallet, where you have access to these funds. You know that they are safe. We also have access to multi-sig wallets as well in offshore jurisdictions that are tax free. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, again, book a consult with us below. We're happy to dive into what this would look like for you based on, again, your residency, your citizenship, where you're holding your crypto, how we can strategize to start bringing that into certain jurisdictions around the globe to cash out tax free. Okay, well, this is the last episode of 2024. We will see you in 2025, and there is so many amazing things that we have planned for 2025. We get lots of questions surrounding different processes around the globe, especially in Latin America. We really do work with a lot of the team, a lot of clients in Latin America, just because there is so much interest in this part of the world. And I myself have been here for about the last three years now, potentially more. It's been quite a few years, lived in many different countries around the globe, and currently living in Paraguay. And maybe I'll touch on this quickly as well. I really do like Paraguay. I love the food in Peru. Peru is just, if you're in Barranco, Miraflores, it's absolutely beautiful. It's stunning. I love Panama. I really like certain areas of Mexico. I love Mexico City. I love a big city with a million things to do. There's there's Chile is beautiful as well. There are many different jurisdictions that I really enjoy in Latin America, but we have settled in Paraguay for the time being. We are still always on the go, always doing little trips, traveling around, but we've settled in Paraguay for the time being. And there's a few different reasons for that. Like I said, there are other countries in Latin America that I really enjoy. I really, really do. But, and this could probably be a whole nother podcast episode now that I'm thinking about it. And maybe I will talk about this in a little bit more detail. But quite honestly, Paraguay is, it's in the capital, in Asuncion, which is where we have settled for the time being. It's a quiet lifestyle. Yes, there's not a lot going on, I would say, at face value in Asuncion. It's a very small capital, a few million, and objectively, yes, there's not much going on. But when you build, like anywhere, when you build a good community of people, you know people, I play paddle multiple times a week, do paddle lessons. You really just build out a life somewhere. And I don't know how it happened, but it did happen here in Paraguay. And one other thing I will say that I really enjoy about Paraguay is the freedom is nice, but it's also the food. So I was vegetarian for about 15 years up until a few months ago, up until about mid 2024. And it was, let me tell you, I've traveled to Paraguay quite a few times. My first time was 2022, I believe. And it was not easy to eat in Paraguay as a vegetarian. Yes, they have local foods. They have sopa, they have chipawazu, which is just different varieties of breads and cornbreads. So nothing very nutritional, nothing extremely healthy in terms of the local traditional food. Yes, there are other things. A lot of them are meat based. So, and I enjoy fish. I was a pescatarian. I really had a difficulty out of all the countries in Latin America. Paraguay, because it is landlocked, ocean locked, it is very difficult to find quality fish that's not just completely freezer burnt. And I didn't eat meat. So it was very difficult for me. Now, having transitioned over to eating meat, it is a completely different world. And the beef here, I really only eat beef because, as far as I'm aware, it is mostly coming from the Chaco region in the north area of Paraguay. And it's all grass fed, very much so not an industrialized industry, which I very much so appreciate. I would not be eating meat or beef if it was an industrialized industry in the country. And so I really enjoy eating. I didn't in the beginning, but it has grown on me a little bit. Still not my favorite thing in the world, but I usually try to eat a steak a day. I'll buy a 2 or 3 pack of steak at the local supermarket at Super Says. It'll cost me I would say between 6 and 12 or 13 US dollars. So extremely affordable. That's for probably about a 2 or 3 pack of a good cut of steak that I enjoy. I also will eat some chicken breast, and that's pretty much the only meat that I eat. It's healthy, it's nutritious, it's coming from within Paraguay. Well, the chicken is a little bit questionable, but I do eat some chicken breast for protein as well. And I will tell you that it has been really nice and really easy, to be fair, eating meat now, but really nice to just eat a whole food diet. I go to the supermarket. Yes, you can go to markets as well. There's markets happening on multiple days per week. I know there's a Tuesday one, there's a Saturday one. I'm sure there's other ones in Asuncion as well, but it's really nice to just eat a whole food diet. I eat meat. I get vegetables at the supermarket. I cook them with the meat. I eat fruits. I'll have the occasional little indulgent snack. And I found some Greek yogurt that has no sugar that I really like here. And so, really just trying to eat healthy. If you have traveled for extended periods of time, we traveled for about 4 years living out of a suitcase, and it's quite tricky eating well, especially when you are in a new, doesn't have to be a new city, but at least a new Airbnb or hotel every 2 to 4 weeks. It can be very difficult to re-find the supermarket, and you're probably not going to find local markets because you're not really there for a long enough period of time to make use of them. So it could be really difficult. And diet is definitely one of the biggest things that was a struggle for both myself and my partner as we were traveling. And it's really nice to have a home base, to have a community in Paraguay as well. Again, yes, we will always continue to travel, but there are so many opportunities for clients here in Latin America. And we have so many clients interested not only in Paraguay, but in all of the other countries that I have traveled to in Latin America, connected with our teams on the ground to get on the ground research, on the ground experience of these processes for you, for our clients. It's really beneficial to be in Latin America. And of course, if you're learning Spanish, I mean, this is the place to stay as well. So that's a good reason to stay. But it's really nice to just have a home base. And the food was a really big part of it for me and for my partner in Paraguay. So that's a little bit about where we have settled for the time being. I actually really do like Asuncion. If you're in certain areas, there are so many idyllic cafes where you can go and work from. You have a nice home. I mean, if we're talking properties, that's another conversation, but we will actually be having some content out about that on the YouTube channel and on the podcast as well. We're going to be doing some property tours, and we're also going to be talking to our local team on the ground about what it's like to purchase as a foreigner or a resident, but still technically a foreigner in Paraguay, to understand a little bit more of the market. So that should be out soon if it is not out on YouTube already. But we are really leaning into Latin America and to what clients are asking for in terms of tax optimization in Latin America. Europe has become a much higher minimum and much stricter as well with what they're really wanting to see on the application processes. And I mean, Asia is good for the right person, but it's not really beneficial for the long term, depending on your long term goals. So, this is what we strategize with clients. Anyways, this has become a much longer episode than I was intending it to be. But if you are interested in booking in a call now or in the future, the link is below. Save it for later if you think that this is something in the future that could be beneficial for you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a listener. In 2024 and beyond, this show has run since 2021. And we're going to be at 300 episodes in 2025. So it's definitely been going on for a while. This show, yes, it's had its own iterations, but we've always focused on travel, global citizen life, and global diversification. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you in